Our lesson for today comes from Ecclesiastes. And we'll start with reading verses 1 and 2 of the first chapter. The words of the preacher, the son of David, king in Jerusalem. Vanity of vanities, says the preacher. Vanity of vanities. All is vanity. That's a powerful verse. But I think because we speak modern English, we really miss some of that. I don't know about you, but when I hear the word vain, I think of the meaning that's in Carly Simon's song. You're so vain, you probably think this song is about you. We forget. We use it in one of the songs we sing, in vain and high and holy lays. But that word just doesn't really have any power. It's so formal. So I'm going to use two words that are synonyms that in some of the more modern languages are translated that way. The words of the preacher, the son of David, king in Jerusalem. Worthless. Worthless, says the preacher. Worthless, worthless. All is worthless. Or meaningless. 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 All is meaningless. That could be the anthem of our society today. How many people feel that everything is meaningless? There's no meaning at all. Nothing works. Everything is messed up. How many people just feel like they don't belong? What's my place? What's my purpose? What's the purpose of everything? Nothing means anything. Well, the reason you feel that way is because it's true. If you go through the entire chapter, and we may do some more of that, the entire book, it gives all the different reasons that nothing matters. Nothing makes any sense. But he goes on and he goes, what does a man gain by all the toil at which he toils under the sun? What do you gain? How many people in our lifetime we've seen 2 or 3 mini recessions where people who work their whole lives lose their jobs and don't have anything to go? There's a whole generation that has very little work ethic because they saw their parents lose everything. And they go, well, what good does it do? I'd rather just be a barista. That's because it's meaningless. A generation goes, a generation comes, but the earth remains forever. You think it matters whether you're boomer, millennial, Gen X, Gen Z, Gen whatever? Guess what? My generation's going to be gone. My dad's already is. And you know what a difference it made in the world? A zip and a doo-dah. None. And guess what? When your generation goes, nobody's going to care. They'll all be with themselves. The sun rises, sun goes down, and hastens the place where it rises. The wind blows to the south and goes around to the north, and around goes the wind. On its circuits, the wind returns. All streams run to the sea, but the sea is not full. To the place where the streams flow, and they flow again. know something that a lot of people don't know. They're so worried about the use of water. Guess what? Every water that you waste goes into the ocean, evaporates up, and comes back. It may not come where you are, but the thing is, you can't waste water. You can waste your water, but you can't waste it. It's going to come back somewhere. And if you don't believe that, you could have been in our house last night, because it was coming back pretty good. All things are full of weariness. A man cannot utter it. The eye is not satisfied with seeing, nor the ear filled with hearing. We live in a world where there is so much sensory input. I mean, we've got movies and songs, and they've got everything. And never satisfied, never happy, there's never enough. Always got to be more. What has been is what will be, and what has been done is what will be done. There's nothing new under the sun. That's kind of sad, but it's the truth. Everything's the same. We get a new drug, guess what? Still have the same problems. There is no remembrance of former things, nor will be remembrance of later things among those yet to be who come after. Everything is forgettable. He said he applied his heart to seek out the wisdom, because this was Solomon, the wisest man on the earth. And he goes, it is an unhappy business that God has given to the children of man to be busy with. I have seen everything that is done under the sun, and behold, all is vanity and striving after the wind. Nothing makes any sense. And here he says something that is kind of sad. Verse 15. What is crooked cannot be made straight, and what is lacking cannot be counted. I don't care how hard Lee works. He can't fix everything. He can make it a little bit better, but he's never going to get it fixed. Never. You're never going to stop people from being stupid idiots. You're never going to stop people from killing each other and having wars over stupid things. I mean, it would be nice. But what is crooked can't be made straight. And what's lacking can't be counted. I'm glad that I'm not a legislator, because it drives me nuts trying to fix everything that's wrong. And every time I got something halfway fixed, I realized that there were 6 more things that I had forgotten. God bless you. You have so much more patience with human beings than I will ever have. And I'm going to skip down the end of this chapter and go, and I applied my heart to know wisdom and to know madness and folly. I perceive that this also is but a striving after wind. You can't know the difference between wisdom and folly sometimes. Some of your best efforts to do the right thing and be really wise end up being the wrong thing. Striving after the wind. For in much wisdom is much vexation, and he who increases knowledge increases sorrow. Now, you know, this could be a really downer. If everything's worthless, that's a pretty big downer. But we'll skip to the end of the book. The last two verses, Ecclesiastes 12, 13 and 14. The end of the matter, all has been heard. Fear God, keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. For God will bring every deed into judgment with every secret thing, whether good or evil. We were made not to make money, not to be happy, not to see art. We were created for the purpose of serving God. That's what we were created for. You can use a screwdriver as a pry bar, but it'll never work right. You can use a knife as a screwdriver, but it won't work right. When you use something for the wrong purpose, it's worthless and meaningless. Our lives are going to be worthless and meaningless until we are put in the correct place. Our job is not to be our authentic selves. Our job is to fit into the mold that God has placed us to worship him and to keep his commandments. And I'm glad that it was brought up about, do you know God? Does Jesus know you? Let's turn to Matthew 7, 21 through 23. Because that's important. Not everyone who says to me, Lord, Lord, will enter the kingdom of heaven, but the one who does the will of my Father in heaven. Oh, you mean worship God? Fear God and keep his commandments? Oh, guess that hasn't changed. Then will I declare to them, I never knew you. Depart from me, you workers of lawlessness. I love getting out my old high school manuals. I don't know if you do or not, but it's kind of cool sometimes to read what people said. But with mine, it's really bittersweet. Because as I read through them, I see quite a few of them that say, I don't really know you. I don't know you. I gave them my annual to sign because I thought they were my friends. I saw them every day. I knew them. But they did not know me. Be really careful. Just because you know Jesus doesn't mean that he knows you. Unless you have been crucified with him, he does not know you. It's sad looking at my annual and seeing all those people that I thought that they knew me because I knew them, that I thought they were my friend. But how much sadder will it be when this life is over and you see that written in the Lamb's Book of Life? I don't really know you. Because the next line after that in God's annual is, depart from me, workers of iniquity. It's important that if you want to have a fulfilled life that isn't meaningless, follow God's commandments. Sometimes they're unpleasant. Sometimes we get ourselves in a mess that the only way to get out, maybe you have 2 or 3 options that God will allow you to do, but they're neither one of them good. But in the end, obeying God is always the right choice. If anybody needs to answer the invitation in a public way, you can come now to stand as we sing.